Cool. Again, this is going to be another live Q&A. The purpose of it really is to just, get information out there, grow the YouTube channel. So if you can like, subscribe, share the YouTube channel, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. So the purpose of the live stream is really to just get the information out there, because I'm starting to notice the more live streams I do, the more the channel grows. Also, to promote the Patreon page too. So we'll probably have a couple of these 2-3 a week maybe. A lot of the times you're getting the same questions. I mean, if it's from new people, fine. But if you're joining in on the live streams and asking the same questions over and over again, expecting a different answer, you're not going to get one. So, just because you don't like the answer. So I've noticed this with a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the answer I give them. So their approach is to ask the same question, a bunch of different times, hoping that they're going to get an answer that they like. Listen, I'm here to provide you with the truth. And I don't care if you dislike the truth. I'm going to say it as blunt as possible. I don't. So I'm going to tell you the truth. And if you don't like the truth, I'm sorry. Asking the same question a different way is not going to give you a truth that you're going to like. The truth seldom cares about your feelings for it. And that is the purpose of this channel. The purpose of this channel is to give people the truth. Because, unfortunately, our way of thinking and our brains and our pattern recognition was designed not for truth, not for logic. It was designed for survival. Our brains have evolved to make quick decisions with as little energy and as little effort as possible for survival. The more energy we waste solving problems and thinking, we have a pattern recognition brain. This allowed us to evolve over the past 2 million years. But the problem is the fitness industry knows this. They know we are prone to selection bias, or prone to making generalizations and seeing patterns. And that is how they get you. And that is how they screw you. And that is how they sell you nonsense that doesn't work. So, quite honestly, it pisses me off. So that's pretty much why I started doing this. Because somebody's got to get the right information out there. And unfortunately, the people who have the right information are, into their 50s, 60s, or 70s now, and nobody's going to listen to them because of that pattern recognition brain we have. They're just going to associate their knowledge with the way they look and think that they must not know what they're talking about, disregarding genetics, environment, or diet, or anything. I happen to look the part, and I'm literally just saying the same thing, a little different. The same message that high-intensity training community, or research-based training community has pushed for the past 40, 50 years. I'm saying the same thing for the most part. The only difference is I look at it. So that's the purpose of this channel. If you'd like to support the channel, if you would like to support that mission, join the Patreon. Support my mission in exposing the truth about exercise. All right. Start with the first question here. In what cases can we tear the biceps? Sometimes you're scared, 59 male, 26. You tear the biceps either from overuse, so you're actually getting a lot of micro trauma in the connective tissue when you train. If you don't allow enough time to recover, that micro trauma doesn't regenerate the connective tissue. Overuse also, lifting weight or moving rapidly. So when you accelerate or try to lift something really fast and really rapidly and explosively, you generate what's called high peak forces. Now there's a certain limit of peak force that muscles and connective tissues can withstand before failing. And the reason I tell people to move slowly is to stay far away from this level of peak force that will cause connective tissue to fail. So as long as you are moving slowly, it is extremely difficult to tear a biceps tendon or the biceps muscle. You're not going to tear the biceps muscle. You're going to tear the tendon, one of the tendons. So as long as you're moving slowly, it's virtually impossible. A scenario where, and if you've been training for 2 years, you're probably fine, but you take somebody who hasn't worked out in a long, long time. Their muscles atrophied, everything else in your body atrophies. Bone mineral density, connective tissue strength, that all atrophies, that all gets worse. So if you're an unconditioned, weak person, and then you go try to lift something really heavy and fast, your connective tissue is also going to be very weak. Its peak force limit is going to be lower than it would be, and that's when it's going to fail. But if you're moving slowly, you should not have a problem. Also, this is something I have to do. I suffer from biceps tendonitis a lot. So I have to, if I'm training the biceps directly, I have to use a very low load. Got a curl bar, 40 pounds sometimes. So use a low load and slow down the cadence, and you should not get hurt. If you got hurt, then you moved too quickly, or you were training too frequently, or too much. See, this is such a common question. And the reason this question comes up so much is because you're not seeing results as fast as you think or as fast as you like. So then you're blaming it on your recovery. If your body's going to respond favorably to training, say if you're going to grow a lot of muscle, it is going to do so in spite of your bad volume of frequency. Adding a day or two of rest is not going to propel your body into levels of growth that you weren't seeing before. For instance, say you were training with 3 days of rest in August, and then in September you decided to train with 4 days of rest. You're not going to put on 2 to 5 pounds just by adding that day of rest. If you feel like you have the energy to train, you're recovering. Okay, that's it. That's it. Stop thinking about this too much, because adding a day or adding 2 isn't going to make a noticeable difference. It's just not. Can people benefit from more time under tension? Yes, but it's not going to make, again, it's not going to make a noticeable difference. These little things. This is how people kind of end up in the hit community. They're not seeing results that they think they should be or that they expect, and then they kind of blame it on little things like time under load or frequency. Those things are not going to make a noticeable difference. Those things can all be absolute fucking shit. And if you have the genetic capability of building impressive amounts of muscle tissue or a good physique, you're going to no matter what. You could throw a bag of potatoes at the wall, you're going to grow muscle. People with more slow twitch muscle fiber distribution throughout their body seem to benefit from a little longer time under load, maybe 120 seconds. But their ability to grow muscle tissue sucks anyway. So whether they did 60, 90, or 120, the outcome would be the same, which is just not very impressive. Intermittent fasting, I entered this before. It's okay. I mean, don't expect to go from an average physique to shredded by implementing intermittent fasting. And when should someone train? When you have time. I'm not sure exactly. When is the most optimal time for someone to train for the best results? Doesn't matter at all. When you feel like you can put forth the most effort, that's when. So if after a long day of work you feel like shit and low energy and low ambition, probably not a good time to train. If first thing in the morning you are low energy, low ambition, and you feel like you can't put forth a lot of effort, probably not a good idea to train. Train when you feel you have the ability to put forth the most effort. For me, this is about 11 in the morning, 10, 11 in the morning. That's when I train. But I have a flexible schedule, so. What is my workout routine? I'm not going to explain that on this, but if you join the Patreon page, I record the entire workout. You can watch me literally go through it start to finish. I do a couple of different variations of the workout, and they're all going to be posted as I do them on Patreon. So you could literally see when I train and what I do. I'm going to post almost all of them as long as I can film them. Okay. I've heard you say to lift heavy, but how heavy should one start? Okay, so heavy is relative. So we're talking about load. You want to use a load, but again, say you take a 10-pound dumbbell and you hold it next to your chest, and then you hold it out here. It is now heavier. So resistance is a combination of load, moment arm, force velocity, a couple other things. So the research shows that it doesn't matter what load you use, light or heavy. As long as you train to failure, there is no difference in improvements in muscle growth and strength. And when I say strength, I'm talking about the muscle's ability to produce force. I'm not talking about your ability to perform a bench press or a squat for a 5-rep max. That involves a tremendous amount of skill. So don't be looking to display your strength in exercises that you don't normally practice, because there is a huge skill component. When I say strength, I say your muscle's ability to produce force, not your ability to perform an Olympic lift. If you want to get good at Olympic lifts like squat, deadlift, or bench press, you have to practice them. You cannot simply just use hammer strength, Nautilus machines, or body weight and then expect your bench press to go shooting up. That's not how your body works. The more you practice the bench press, the more efficient your body is going to become at recruiting muscle tissue and saving energy, and the more weight you're going to be able to move. How heavy should you start? You should use a weight that allows you to reach failure within, I would say, 8 to 15 repetitions moving slowly. Lifting or lowering for about 3 to 6 seconds, anywhere from 8 to 15. I choose about 12 reps. Doesn't matter. You could choose 30 reps. You could choose a very light weight and do it for 30 reps to failure. The outcome is going to be the same. The only difference is you're going to be using more resources and more wear and tear on the joints. So I would say between 8 and 15. The fastest way to strengthen your grip. Well, we are here to find the fastest way to do everything. There's no reason to do something the slowest way. So let's talk about the most effective way to strengthen your grip. Because there isn't like a bunch of ways and then there's this fast way. That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we're all going to use the fastest way. But to strengthen your grip is to just continue to perform the exercises which require grip. Because a lot of times when people start off, they have a hard time gripping the machine, and it's simply because they're new to training. They don't have the grip strength. Their body hasn't learned how to use the machine. So in the beginning, you're going to notice your grip failing. As time goes on, it should improve to where it's not even going to fail. But once a week, I would add wrist flexion exercises with a dumbbell or a barbell, and wrist extension exercises with a barbell or dumbbell. And if you have access to a hammer strength gripper machine, that'll work too. All right. You have friends that are. I don't really have friends that. Well, you feel like steroids help recovery. If you think you need more to go, I don't. They say they do, but what they'll do is increase the rate of protein turnover and protein synthesis. They'll reduce the amount of myostatin, and they'll increase IGF-1, testosterone. All these things help with muscle growth. But again, if you don't have the genetics, if you don't have good muscle fiber density, some resistance to myostatin, good muscle belly length, expression of certain genes, a couple other things, steroids are not going to make a difference. Like, you're not going to have these average genetics pump a bunch of steroids in and then turn into a fitness model. And if you guys have spent time in like a traditional old school gym like I have, I grew up in, you know that, I would say like 80% of the men in these kind of old school gyms are on steroids. And you wouldn't know because you're not going to look very impressive unless you have the genetics with it. So there are a lot more people on steroids than you would imagine. And the reason you don't notice is because you need to have good genetics too. I've known people who've taken them with average genetics and they just kind of put a bunch of water weight on, and then they got off, water weight went off. Do I think if I trained Phil Heath, he would look better? No. I don't think he would look better. He's maximized himself. But I think he would have the same appearance with about 1/8 of the training involved with no injuries. Again, remember, all training approaches are going to eventually lead you to the same result, your genetic potential. The training approach I prefer is the one that takes the least amount of time and has the least chance of injury. If they're all going to lead to the same result, why wouldn't you take the most time efficient and the safest one? That's the point. Unless you have this thing psychologically where you like to go to the gym. I understand that. I don't have that, but if you like to go to the gym more often, just do more of a split routine, or just go sit on the cardio equipment and look around. I get people like to go. It's like a release for them, but that doesn't mean going more often is better. What is your warm-up routine, if any, before you begin your single set of failure routines? I usually do one warm-up set on the first exercise. Like I trained today, and I just did a set of 8 repetitions with, I would say, about 40 to 50% of my working load, my working set load, just to kind of practice the movement and get things moving. It's psychological, practice the movement, get the heart rate up a little. And that's it. And then I don't do a warm-up from there on out. Just one set of the first exercise for a warm-up. And on my leg split, I just do one set of squats with about 135 pounds. And then I go right into 315 and I do that failure. You don't need a warm-up if you're moving slowly. If you ever incorporate weighted calisthenics like pull-ups, dips, those are not calisthenics. Those are body weight exercises. Calisthenics is something like a burpee or a jumping jack. I do incorporate pull-ups and dips, but not weighted because I'm 210 pounds. So, I mean, if you're like a gymnast and you're a buck 40, little weight, but I just, if I do pull-ups, I just do them with body weight. I think I get anywhere from 8 to 12 till I hit failure. With dips, same thing. I do anywhere from 10 to 20 until I hit failure. But I don't add weight. I just move more slowly. What's the best way to train if your grip is not that strong? I train the big five routine. After that pull down, I can't reach failure early because of my grip. No. Well, how long have you been doing it? If you just started, first of all, don't do the big five. That's not enough for optimal results. That's enough for basic, general, decent results, but not for optimal. You're gonna want to do a leg extension, a hamstring curl, a calf raise, a biceps curl, a triceps extension, an abdominal crunch, a lower back extension. There's about 5-6 exercises you're gonna want to add to that for optimal. And if you've only been training a couple of weeks and you feel your grip is still failing, just stick with it. And if it doesn't improve, then lighten the load. You probably gotta lighten the load. First, try lightening the load, lighten the weight. Try that. And then if that doesn't work, which it will, you just need to make your form a little more strict. Then maybe wrist wraps, or just do a drop set. The thing is, wrist wraps suck because you're not going to be able to improve your grip strength. Or just do a drop set. Get to the point where you feel like your grip is going to die out. Reduce the load by about 50% and do another set to failure. Is that a MAGA hat in the back? Yeah, it's kind of. It's a spin-off of MAGA hat. It says "Make Men Strong Again," and it's hilarious. A friend of mine makes them. It's true. Men need to be strong again. How do I know when I'm in a caloric deficit? Well, you will lose weight. If you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. That's how you know. After a set to muscle failure, I feel a deep exhaustion in the muscle for minutes. If you can't do another set properly, is that the same for you? Yeah, that means that one set you did is effective. Hold on, let me shut this stupid weed record. Oh. Yeah, you want to feel that deep muscle fatigue. You shouldn't be able to do another set if you do the first one right. If you can do another set, you just didn't do the first one right. It's like washing your car, drying it, and noticing it's still dirty. You should have cleaned the whole car the first time. If you did it correctly, you wouldn't have to wash it a second time. Same thing with exercise. Pullover machine, yeah, that one's great. I use that once a week. All right, so Patreon, it's a membership program where my members get access to exclusive content that I don't put on YouTube. So I do videos on more complicated topics. I create videos of my entire workouts with voiceover to explain how to. I post videos demonstrating exercises with a voiceover to explain how to do them properly. I post entire workouts. There's also a messaging system on there to where you can personally message me whatever questions you have and I'll answer them. I also am putting content on how to start and successfully run a high intensity training studio. Pretty much I'm just offering exclusive content that I'm not doing on YouTube. YouTube, I'm doing like live streams, little things here and there, but all the good stuff, that's going to be on Patreon for my members. So if you want access to all the nitty gritty, full detail stuff, and if you want to see my workouts, if you want to learn the ins and outs, so running behind the training business, that's all going to be on Patreon. So if you type in that link, it's going to take you to the sign up page and you sign up. And also, if you have any personal questions about training, you can send me a question anytime you want. I don't really answer questions from Instagram and Facebook and all that, or emails. If you send emails, I probably don't even see it, honestly. It bugs me. All right. You ever get headaches after your workouts? Get them every now and then? No, but that's called an exercise-induced headache. So some people get them. It's like a genetic thing. And what we found was starting with the upper body, something like the shoulders, helps reduce exercise-induced headaches. Also, you really need to focus on your breathing. Sometimes if you hold your breath, that'll happen. All right. I hate this question. This is just a good example of a really, fitness industry-like question. There's no tricks to getting a six-pack. First of all, whether you have a 6, 4, or 8-pack depends on your genetics, how your muscles are attached. The origins and insertions of your rectus abdominis dictate whether or not you have a 4, 6, or 8-pack. So you can't determine what pack you get. If you want visible abs, you have to reduce your body fat enough to make them visible. Usually 10% or below for men, or around 15, 16% for women. So what do I recommend? Eat less. That's it. Which handle is best for the pull down? Well, anything I could do a supinated grip with. So if I were to do a pull down on a cable, there are some of those cable machines that have, so it's got the hook, and then it's got this piece you attach to it that separates it. It's like a splitter into 2 more hooks. And then I attach a couple of nylon handles to it, and I do it like this. That's the way I do it. But anything supinated is going to be, again, there's no handle that's necessarily best. The results are pretty much going to be the same no matter what handle you use. None of that stuff makes a difference. Is there a specific breathing technique during the training that you suggest to maximize the effort results? Well, no breathing is going to maximize your results, or effort, really. But yeah, you want to continuously breathe. You don't want to hold your breath. You don't want to pucker your lips or do any sort of Valsalva. You don't want to hold your breath. What you want to do is keep your face relaxed, your jaw relaxed, and continue to breathe in and out. So, think about when you're jogging, what happens to your breathing? It's up a little bit. And that's because the intensity of muscular effort is rising. Therefore, the cardiovascular system has to work harder to supply with oxygen, and you have to breathe more. So breathe kind of as if you were jogging. Don't look it up. Does it make sense to integrate functional training? There's no such thing as functional training. It's bullshit training, such as working out with kettlebells. No, there isn't, because it's skill transfer. Doing a functional movement doesn't make you any more functional at other movements. Because if you're swinging a kettlebell or doing one of these functional movements, the skill that you acquire doing those movements doesn't transfer to anything else. So if you get good at swinging a kettlebell, it's not transferring to the basketball court. It's not transferring to the football field. It's not transferring to running through the woods, chasing down a wild hog. It doesn't transfer. That's why functional training is stupid. Any training that makes you stronger and more conditioned is functional. It improves your functional ability. Doing high momentum, high skill-based movements, such as a kettlebell swing or whatever other bullshit they do, doesn't make you any more functional. That is just the problem is people do not understand the concept of skill transfer. They think that if you do a movement similar to another movement. So if you do a movement in the gym that is similar to another movement outside of the gym, that it will transfer. It does not at all. Sorry, let's see. It does not transfer. Here's a good example. Golfing, hitting a golf ball is pretty damn similar to hitting a hockey puck, right? So do you think hockey players can drive the ball 400 yards perfectly straight? No. That is an extremely similar muscle recruitment pattern, and it doesn't transfer at all. So how is swinging a kettlebell going to transfer to anything other than swinging a kettlebell? Another good example is, you ever try driving with your shoe off? It's harder. And that's the exact same activity, but you just remove a shoe and you're a little worse at driving. So how is a kettlebell swing going to transfer to anything? It's not. So functional training is the dumbest thing. It is a gimmick. It is fraud. And it's for men who wear man buns. Is the mic okay now? I don't know what's wrong there. How long do you usually rest between exercises? Probably like 30 seconds. How often do I train my abs? Never. Maybe once, twice a month. All right. If the training is too intense, you can feel the following day symptoms such as accelerated heart rate and insomnia. Would it be necessary to? No, there's no way to train too intensely. There's no such thing. You can't train too intensely. You can train too long or too frequently, but you cannot train too intensely. You never want to change the amount of intensity to accommodate the volume. That is literally backwards. You want to accommodate the volume and frequency to the intensity. Never reduce your intensity. Train as hard as you possibly can every single time and adjust the volume and frequency to accommodate that intensity. You cannot train to intensity. Yep, this happens all the time. When you train, the soreness starts on the second day. Yeah, this is normally just in the beginning. Tends to go away. I would say to most of my clients, when I get a new client, I'll explain the whole, exercise thing to them. I'll say, you're going to be a little sore, probably not so much tomorrow, but more so the next day. It always seems to be the second day. Touching chest on bench press or not, what's more optimal? There's no additional benefit to touching the chest on the bench press. It's just going to kind of externally rotate your shoulders a little too much. I would a couple inches off your chest, but again, it depends on how big your chest is. Depends on how long your arms are. It depends. If you have a big burly chest, like powerlifters do, and it's very easy to touch your chest, but if you feel a lot of pulling and a lot of strain touching your chest, you probably shouldn't do it. There's no additional benefit to touching your chest. Best exercise to develop glutes? I don't know. It's probably for a musician. I'm just kidding. To probably glutes. Squat or leg press. Simple. That is the most over thought about question. How to develop the glutes. Squat or leg press. If you don't have big glutes, it's just not in your genetics. Just with people with small calves. Some people just naturally have giant calves. Little small ones, and it's got to do with muscle belly length, origin insertion, all that stuff. Do you incorporate cardio in your workout? No, there's no such thing as cardio. There is mechanical and metabolic work with muscle. There is no such thing as cardio. When you perform mechanical and metabolic work with muscle, the systems that support the muscle, your cardiovascular system, your metabolism, your bone connective tissue. They will all improve alongside the improvement in muscle strength and size. So we are getting to those systems by stressing the muscle. How you stress the muscle makes very little difference. All that matters is that you provide enough stress on the muscle to get it to improve and to stimulate the supporting systems. Steady state locomotive activity is just an extremely inefficient way and time-consuming way, an ineffective way of generating fatigue in the muscle. The analogy I use is it's like trying to mop a floor with a toothbrush. Yeah, you can mop the floor with a toothbrush. You'll probably be able to do it. It's just if you got a mop sitting in the corner, why not just use the mop? Resistance training is like using a mop to mop a floor. Cardio is like using a toothbrush to mop the floor. I bet you're amazing with your fingers. What the fuck? Okay. All right. You're right, she is lucky. Let's see. By joining the Patreon, can I share a video of my workout to get advice? Yes. But you have to join the Patreon for me to do that for you. Could you define a double progression and when you increase your weight? Do you mean what do you mean by double progression? You increase in weight and time? Then you just increase your weight. You increase your weight when you pass either the target time under load or the target repetition. So if you're doing failure between 8 and 12, when you pass 12 repetitions, increase the weight. And if you're using a 60 or a 90-second time under load, you go past 90 seconds, increase the weight. Pretty simple. Let's see, carnivores on one hand, vegans on the other. Insulin makes you fat, meat kills you, flavors, carbohydrates, blah, blah, blah. Losing fat is negative energy balance. Yeah, and the problem is people like to belong to groups, and they like to belong to tribes. So they like to get behind something and hate on everything else. Carnivore diet is stupid. Vegan diet is stupid. Low carb is stupid. High carb is stupid. It's all stupid. It's just, it's not what the science shows. The science shows if you want to lose weight, eat less calories. If you want to maintain and or build muscle tissue while that fat is lost, maintain adequate protein intake. That's it. Let's see. Sometimes you get pain in the sternum with doing dips or chest press. How do you work? I would just shorten your range of motion. Definitely. To shorten your range of motion. I used to get pain in my biceps doing dips, believe it or not. I just stopped. Doing dips. Yeah, I don't train my abs really. Obviously, if you want a well-balanced, well-rounded physique, you want to train every major muscle group, and abs is one of them. But I've been training for so long, my abs are really strong. And abdominal training has almost nothing to do with the appearance of your abs. It's got almost everything to do with your body composition. And doing ab training is not going to reduce the amount of fat on your midsection. So, do you think 14 days between training and muscle group is too much time between? Yeah, if you're looking for optimal body composition, way too much time. I got a new job a couple months ago, long hours. I mean, you can build and maintain your strength and body composition training every 14 days, but it's going to be way far from optimal. It's good. That's like the absolute minimum. Yeah, I mean, you could do it that way. Just do not expect tremendous results. No way. No way. Thank you guys for the appreciation. I do appreciate that. Again, any more questions, just shoot them in there. And if you want answers to specific questions, or you just want me to answer your specific questions as you have them, then join the Patreon. I will do that. So I've got, I'm doing a series on, I'm actually opening another studio in Florida. And I'm going to go through the whole process on my Patreon, opening another studio. I've opened 2. This will be the 3rd one I've opened. I'm just going to show you guys. I'm even going to like post pictures of redoing the inside. I'm going to show you guys step by step what it's like to open a training studio. So luckily, I just committed to a spot, to a commercial retail space here in Florida. And I'll go over on my Patreon why I chose the space, because location is huge, but there are some things you want to consider when picking a space. Because this is, because the marketing and advertising and fitness is so saturated, you really got to pick a good space. Would I recommend a different training method for guys over 50? Absolutely not. I would only recommend this training method to everybody. So this isn't like a method. I mean, it's a method because there are other wrong methods out there. This is what I tell you is the physiology of exercise. On the past 40, 50 years of exercise science research. This is it. This is how you do it. The most effectively, efficiently, and safely. Doesn't matter what your age is. I've trained 85-year-old women. I've trained guys with MS in wheelchairs. I've trained people with Down syndrome. I've trained children. I've trained a guy with one leg. Trained a guy with one arm. Like, it works for anybody. It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the basic principles of exercise science, stimulating a muscle, it doesn't matter who or what you are. I literally train my dog this way. Obviously not on machines, but I literally implement high-intensity training stimulus into my dog every morning. Use a ball and a hill, but still, I mean, yeah. Yeah, the copper mugs behind me are from Moscow Meals. So, yeah, the fact of the matter is, there really is only one physiology to exercise, one real physiology to exercise. Just like there is a physiology to healing a bone, or a physiology to pretty much, if there wasn't one set physiology to the way something worked in your body, then modern medicine literally wouldn't work. It couldn't. If everybody's body was different, then modern medicine could not possibly work. And we'd all be freaking dead. Because everybody's physiology is the same. How you respond to exercise is different. So that does not mean that your physiology is different. It's just some people respond better than others. This is the physiology of exercise. This is it. And the best analogy there is the suntan analogy. Some people get very tan from the sun. Some people don't get tan at all. Some people can't tolerate much time in the sun. Some people can tolerate a lot of time in the sun. What is the best way to get a suntan? Right now, a tanning booth, a tanning bed, a machine that provides what? A high intensity of ultraviolet light. The higher the intensity, the stronger the stimulus, the faster the adaptation. The higher the intensity, the lower the amount you can tolerate. The high intensity training method that I promote is literally like a tanning bed. If you go outside and lay in the sun, will you get a tan? Yes. If you go do volume training like Arnold Schwarzenegger, will you see results? Yes. But is it as good as a tanning bed? Is spending an hour and a half in the sun as good as 10 minutes in a tanning bed? No. It's all the same. You're going to get the result. Some methods are just more dangerous and less safe than others. This is the most safe and most time efficient. Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. Like maybe someday I'll franchise, but that's not going to be for another few years until I want to do this, but I don't want to grow it so big to where it becomes stressful. I like to live a very low stress, low drama life. And, owning 15, 20 studios isn't going to be that. I don't want to do that. So, maybe someday if somebody who lives in Austin, Texas would like to open one and would like to partner with me, and I will show them how to do it, sure. But it's probably the only way. People have been saying I do look more vascular since I started training like this. Do you know why? Currently doing push-pull legs once it's fit. Yeah, it's because your body composition is improving and your muscle tone is improving. So by muscle tone, I don't mean like the definition or the appearance of your muscle. By muscle tone, I mean the passive tension your muscle produces while it's at rest. So if I just hold my arm out and poke it, this is my muscle tone. How tense it is when it's at rest. When that improves, it does have an effect on your vascularity. Also, your reduction in your body fat, which is likely the result of any effective training. It's going to make you look more vascular. But vascularity, how vascular you can get, it's pretty much genetic. Like I have a lot of veins, and so does every other person in my family. My father, mother, and both of my sisters. So, I can't really stand, but I have quite a bit of veins in their forms. Yeah. Let's see if I missed that. Yeah, so with the abs, just one exercise, once or twice a week, just a sit up or a crunch. It's not amazing. You don't need to go crazy like all these fit chicks do, sitting in the back room, just dip over and over again. It's not all those. Am I a Christian? Well, I grew up Catholic. No, I'm not a Christian. I grew up Catholic, traditional Italian American religion. Is there a limit to intensity? No. We've always managed to get better at it. Yeah. Is there a limit to getting better at intensity? Yeah, probably. But there isn't a limit to how intense you should train. You should always train as intense as you can, no matter what. And adjust your volume and frequency to the intensity. Don't reduce your intensity so that way you can complete more volume and frequency. That's what traditional moron bodybuilders do. Do you use any biohacking devices for recovery, e.g. red light therapy? No, I have a really hard time in believing any of that. Like cryotherapy, red light therapy, all this. I mean, the way I don't really think there are that many biohacks. I think the best biohack you could ever have is just sleeping better. Get it so important. All this cryotherapy, relay therapy, massage, myofascial release, yada 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 yada. Listen, if it made a difference, you wouldn't even notice it. It's and if it made a difference, it's probably the placebo effect. A lot of this stuff is just, people are gullible. so they come out with new shit all the time. You incorporate vitamins. I take iron, vitamin B12, or like the B complex, and I take CoQ10 and creatine. That's about it. I'm all sitting over here. So I take them every day. I got them all next to each other. Creatine, CoQ10, B vitamins, iron. Just basic stuff. Do you think time static contraction or static hold is just as effective as normal dynamic reps? Probably. As effective in what? In terms of muscle hypertrophy, probably not. Strength, probably not. No, I'm going to say no. Because there's a skill component to using your muscles too. So if you're just like doing a static hold, your body's going to learn how to produce maximal amount of muscle force in that position, not throughout its entire range. That's your nervous system. So that's why we do range of motion, is to train your nervous system throughout the range of motion. So it permits that range of motion. Let's see. Explanation about inroad. When weight beats you. Are there any other signs within the body that you're throwing the right amount of load applied? Well, like I said, the amount of load you're using. So weight is load, right? That's what weight is. They're the same thing. So the amount of weight you use and the amount of load you use is irrelevant, as long as you train to failure. Like you want to get to the point with every exercise that you can't move weight. You literally cannot move it in perfect form. That doesn't mean shift your hips forward and move it, or lean forward and move it, or swing it and move it. It means in the prescribed form, the form you began the exercise with, you cannot move the weight at all. And I like to stop where I'm pushing and it starts to beat me down. That's when I stop. I use a 3-3 tempo. Do you see any problems with that? The other tempo stuff too. So nope. Pretty much, as long as you're training to failure, actual failure, a 3-3 tempo, the tempos don't really matter. But the problem I have with a 3-3 tempo is that if you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, eventually when you can't do a 3-second positive, you're going to think you're at failure. So you're going to go 1, 2, oh shit, done. Your tempo should slow down towards the end of the set. You may start with a 3-3, but eventually it might turn into a 4-4 and a 5-5. So the end of the set should not be the same tempo. It should be slower. So your last set, even though your first rep is 1, 2, 3, your last rep to failure should be this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're pushing, and then it starts to beat you. That's the problem I have with a faster tempo, because your last rep should be really slow. You should slow down as the set goes on. What kind of creatine? Creatine monohydrates, whatever. Every few days you go back to training the same body part. What do you mean? My split is generally, so today I did upper body. I'm going to wait 2 days, probably. and do lower body. The last time I did upper body was, what was that? Yeah. The last time I trained upper body was Friday. So I took several days off. Yeah. The last time I trained was Friday. Hopefully, if I feel good, I feel like I'm coming down with something, allergies. Hopefully it's not that bullshit flying around. But I'd like to train again on Saturday, but we'll see. Supplement with arginine and carnitine. I don't. Are those amino acids? I don't even know. No, I don't supplement with those things. Are they good or pretty much useless? I don't think they're going to make a difference to where you're like, holy shit, like a noticeable difference. If it does make a difference, it's going to be unnoticeable. Almost all that stuff. I have noticed with creatine, though, I do have better workouts. And I'm just going to take creatine for the clinical benefit forever. I don't need to take it for the training benefit. I take it for the clinical benefit. But I do notice I've had better workouts. All right, I already incorporated for me and my athletes and have been for some time. What books, videos would suggest from them? All right, join my Patreon is what I suggest. Join that. You're going to learn more from me in a shorter period of time. It'll take you way longer to do all the research and read all the books. I spent the past 9 years doing this. Now I condense all the good stuff and I get to you in the Patreon. So if you want to improve your education, Patreon. Also books by, I don't even recommend Ellington, maybe like 1 or 2 Ellington Darden books, but they're pretty much all the same. Ken Hutchins, super technical, but very good. Drew Bay, McGuff, obviously. Wayne Westcott has some books out there. Other than that, there's not all that much. Yeah, so I hope that answered your question. So yeah, I trained. It was either Thursday or Friday. I don't even know Thursday or Friday, and I waited till today to train because I was tired. Still catching back up. I was up north for 2 weeks. It's a lot hotter down here, so it kind of affected me. So I'm gonna wait till at least. I'm probably gonna wait till Saturday to train, depending on how I feel. So we're at 58 minutes now. I like to do this for an hour, so we've got about 2 minutes. If there are any last couple of questions, again, please join my Patreon if you have any questions I didn't answer and you want them answered. Join the Patreon. You can message me anytime you want on Patreon, and I will answer your questions. Could you show us the physical progress of your students? I don't do that. The reason I don't, I'm going to probably start with my new studio, before and after pictures, stuff like that. But you got to remember, everybody's okay. So think of the type of people who hire personal training. These are going to be the people with average genetics or below average genetics. So they're not going to have a profound response to any training. All right. That's a lot of the reasons I never really did before and after pictures, because transformation photos are lies. It's fraud. They literally will take a fitness model or a bodybuilder. They will make them gain 20 or 30 pounds, and then they will switch the pictures into a before and after, or they Photoshop them. You're not going to take a 48-year-old mother of 2 who's 180 pounds and make her look like the cover of Women's Health. It's not going to happen. So when people are looking for these before and after pictures, they're looking for them because they think that there is tremendous transformations that actually make sense. There aren't. Most of my clients are older, average, and in many cases below average genetics, and they're not going to transform like you would imagine. And even if they could transform, they're not going to have the discipline or work ethic to do it. Thoughts on the Ideal Routine by Mike Mentzer. I don't know what his ideal routine is, but Mike Mentzer was a little nuts towards the end of his life. So I like Mike Mentzer back in like the 80s, but in the 90s, he was a crackpot. So I didn't even really listen to. I mean, I liked him, obviously, but some of the things he suggested was a little on the crazy side because he was a little crazy. But towards the end of his life, he was a little crazy. But his heavy duty routine's pretty good. That's fine. I don't know what his ideal routine is like. Yeah, so if you've gone through a lot of the books, websites, YouTube videos, just join my Patreon because my members can ask me, first of all, direct questions. Just message me through Patreon, or suggest topics on things you want to see or things you want to learn about. So the cool part about that is it basically just I'm kind of on call for you. So that's the best way to do it. In the past, I did a little bit of like online coaching, but I think it's just stupid. Honestly, it's like, after I give you an initial workout, diet plan, and all that, it's like, there's really not much I can do from there. So the reason I did the Patreon is so that way I can kind of online coach a whole mess of people at once. I'm going to obviously just come up with things I think you should know, but then I'm also there for recommendations and anything you want to see. I mean, like this past week, I posted, every week I'll say, are there exercises you want to see? Whether it's, the machine, free weight, body weight, whatever. Just go in with my 4K camera and I'll record it for you. Which is my favorite machine? Pull over. My favorite exercise, though, is a barbell squat. Kill me, but I really like the barbell squat. I have the right physiology and genetics for it, so I can squat a lot of weight in good form, and I love the feeling after the squat. I like how challenging it is, and I like how pumped my quads feel. Which is weird because most people hate training legs, and my favorite exercise is the barbell squat. My favorite machine, although, is the pull-over. Okay, guys, it's been about an hour. That's it for me. Stay tuned until later in the week, probably Friday, for the next Q&A. But if you have questions, specific questions, or you want to learn anything more specifically, join my Patreon. Let's grow this thing. And that way you guys can know more about exercise than anybody you've ever met. All right, patreon.com/JVincent. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share it with your friends and family. And also follow me on Instagram, J__Vincent. See you guys on Friday. It's probably going to be about the same time, 3 in the afternoon. And come ready with questions.